So Tatsumi's execution certainly draws quite a crowd. I mean, did you see how packed that massive stadium was? I wonder if there was a guy who was walking through the aisles and selling hot dogs and beer. In this week's episode of Akame ga Kill, there was a lot of fighting, there was a lot of character deaths, and I'm still not quite sure how to feel about it, because even though I'm a big fan of action, this week's episode just seemed kind of phoned in. I don't know, just the overall battles were not as exciting as I was hoping they would be, and that's only because some of the previous episodes were just so much more exciting and interesting and unique. Especially after Mine and Seiryu had their battle, it was just so much more impressive. Still, this episode did have its moments. I will say, though, is they immediately get right into it. Tatsumi's about to be executed. Esdeath is trying to get him to come over to the Esdeath side of the Force, but that's not going to be happening anytime soon. And this all leads to this hilarious scene where they're going to execute him in front of this massive stadium, which, like I said, everybody in town turned out for this shit. And suddenly out of nowhere, Mine just appears, starts shooting, and that's where things just start to seem a little sloppy. This is Night Raid, a group of assassins. Why would they just jump in all gung-ho in the middle of the capital with freaking Esdeath and Budo right there? Whatever, kick logic out the window, let's get some badass action. So the main fights this week are Mine and Leone going up against Budo, the big electric man, and then Najenda and Susanoo fighting Esdeath. This is a fight that I've been waiting to see for a long time, and Esdeath really steals the show, and that's just because she's so disgustingly powerful. The Ice Queen herself also gets to display one of her signature techniques for the first time, and believe it or not, Esdeath has something in common with Goldo from Dragon Ball Z. She can freeze time. The Master of Ice can also freeze time itself, and she uses this to try and defeat Susanoo until suddenly he brings himself back together even after his core is defeated. He goes all Super Saiyan for a bit and basically just acts as a distraction while everybody escapes. And in between all of this, we have Mine and Leone fighting against Budo, which basically just results in Mine getting pummeled repeatedly and not killed, which makes no sense because I thought Budo was kind of a badass. And then because she's in a pinch, she's able to win with this one massive blast from her gun, which is really cool, mostly because of how it looks when it shoots into the sky. But then Tatsumi gets his Incursio armor, Mine is severely injured, and they make their escape, and Susanoo and Esdeath continue to fight, and what is cool is Esdeath actually recognizes Susanoo as a warrior, then they charge each other, and it looks really cool. But at the end of the episode, Mine seemingly dies, just right there, in freaking Tatsumi's arms, and it feels so forced, because Lubbock died in the last episode. They are just killing off every member of Night Raid, and it really seems like that's what they're going to do in this series, and I don't want to compare it too much to the manga version, because this is the anime version, but I'm just not liking how they're just deciding to kill everybody off like this so early on. And I would care more about the death of Mine and their relationship if they would have actually showed it on screen as opposed to just hinting that it might happen. They really shot themselves in the foot with that. Otherwise, this was still a pretty decent episode of Akame ga Kill. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Akame ga Kill? A lot of fighting. Lots of fighting. It was just kind of insane just getting to see all these members come together in this crazy coliseum. It almost seemed like a parody of Akame ga Kill at first. Like just how ridiculous it was when Mine appeared out of nowhere and was just... Everybody was just in awe. The entire crowd got quiet and all you could hear was Mine shooting at Tatsumi, who's up on a freaking cross, which is just... It's ridiculous, you know, and that's really what Akame ga Kill is all about. It is still sort of capturing the essence of the show, even though it is deviating extremely from it. But, like, the battle with, like, Susanoo, Najenda, and Esdeath, like, I don't know. I just feel like they could have done so much more with that. That's my biggest issue with this week's episode is, even though there was a lot of action, it wasn't the best action I've ever seen. It didn't really make me go, whoa, like, the whole time. And when that doesn't happen, to me, that's kind of a disappointment. But I still think this was an entertaining episode nonetheless, especially if you want to see the remaining living members of Night Raid, which is basically just a lot of chicks wailing on each other, just using their special powers, then check it out. It's still fun in that sense, but still, there could have been so much more here. Budo was defeated so easily. And, you know, maybe they're just, you know, that was just supposed to be Mine's moment, like, before she died, and maybe she really isn't dead, because it hasn't really fully been confirmed, but both her and Tatsumi kiss, she passes out, and that's pretty much the end of that chapter. Otherwise, just okay episode, decent animation, artwork. Yeah, it just felt kind of all over the place and just sort of slow and muddled. But at least there were some cool moments, especially with the big beam going through the clouds, and a few moments with Susanoo and Esdeath. So check it out for that. Otherwise, at this point, just let's stay tuned and see what they're going to do with this finale. I'm imagining everybody's going to die, and it's just going to be a friggin' bloodbath. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Let's check it out, guys. I'm going to give this week's episode a 3 out of 5. Wasn't exactly what I was expecting or what I wanted, but it was still entertaining with all the action. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Akame ga Kill. What did you think of the death of mine? And what did you think of all the action this week? And what do you want to see from the grand finale of Akame ga Kill? Remember, guys, if you have not subscribed to our channel, you can do that by clicking on the channel icon right up here. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.